museums exist? At their core, museums are bridges, connecting people to creativity, knowledge, and ideas. Historically, though, there was a catch. To cross that bridge, you had to be physically present. You had to buy a ticket, walk in, and explore. But what about those who can't make the journey? Whether due to cost, geography, accessibility, or other factors, historically, museums have been limited in their reach by their physical location.
But now, we're in the digital age. The average person spends about 2.5 hours a day on social media. That's 2.5 hours of potential for museums to extend their bridges and meet people where they already are. Social media isn't just a marketing tool anymore. It's a canvas for your mission.
You all know the game has changed, and social media gives us the tools to engage with our audiences beyond our four walls. At the Computer History Museum in Mountain View, California, we set out to make our social media presence a bit more like our physical space, a platform for education. So lucky for us, we did not have to get a whole huge film crew in here to make a bunch of new content from scratch. We have so many assets here at CHM that we knew our audiences would love on social media, but we just didn't have the technical expertise to package these materials for engagement. So instead, we partnered with Maria and Sierra to bring new life to the content we already have.
Hello? Hey Sarah, I just got back from the Computer History Museum. Do you want to come over and play Clue?
Hey, yeah, of course. I'll head over there right now.
Okay, perfect. I will see you at the airport.
Museums are sitting on social media content gold mines. All your collections and archives themselves contain amazing stories that can make an impact on social media. There's just one problem. Those archives of long videos aren't going to drive themselves to an online community. They need a pilot, someone like you to repackage them in a way that the average social media user enjoys. And it can be as easy as this.
The format that continues to dominate across social media platforms is short-form vertical video. This medium has become the #1 way for engaging people online. Luckily for us, all the platforms have copied TikTok's feed, meaning you can make just one video and then watch it take off from a bunch of platforms.
By crafting content that's both relatable and easy to consume, you're not just reaching new audiences, you're inspiring them.
We did a little experiment to prove how big of a difference it can make to TikTokify a video.
We took a video from CHM's collection, a Xerox commercial from the 70s, and posted it directly to Facebook as is, in all its horizontal glory. It did pretty well, receiving 1,600 views and 168 engagements.
But then we optimized it a bit, switching the orientation to vertical and adding subtitles. On Facebook, this version exploded with 3.4 million views and 95,000 engagements. 23,000 of those were shares.
Between Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, this one piece of content resulted in 8.8 million total views and 250,000 engagements.
And the coolest part was the kinds of comments this video received.
People were showing curiosity, content knowledge, and using the comment section to connect with one another. And to think, if only the horizontal version was shared, 99.98% of those people would have missed out.
You've probably seen museums have their own versions of a viral Xerox commercial, and you want the same for your museum, but the path to get there feels a little bit like a mystery.
Maybe you've thought to yourself, well, it's too late for my museum to blow up. If it hasn't happened by now, it's never going to.
But allow us to bust a myth real quick. Over the past few months, our new content strategy has taken CHM's Instagram following from 6,000 to 28,000.
We also started a TikTok from scratch over the summer and have grown it to 3,000 followers. If your museum hasn't had its moment yet, you might feel ready to give up trying. But we're here to tell you there's still a lot of potential for growth.
Usage on social media platforms continues to trend upwards, leaving more opportunity than ever to build a niche, engaged online community.
Now, maybe you're thinking, well, my internal team and board would never see the value of investing resources to transform our social presence.
So now it's my turn to bust a myth. One of my main goals since arriving at CHM about a year ago has been to build a social media strategy that helps us engage our audiences more broadly and deeply. So I hadn't yet committed to a plan until one day a board member asked me a question I'm sure that many of you have heard many times. Why aren't you going viral on TikTok? That nudged me to commit to a plan. So soon after, we launched our first experiment with Send It Social. They created 12 pieces of content for us using all of the incredible assets we already have in our collection. It's been so fun to see our whole team, including curatorial and collections, get excited about our work reaching a whole new audience.
Now it's time to play our version of Clue.
Here's the disaster you're faced with. Your museum's most engaging and educational video content is missing from your social platforms.
Our mission, if we choose to accept it, and we do, is to help you find the right strategy and tools to give your existing video content a second life.
Now you're probably wondering, where do I even start? What video should I prioritize making?
Well, we're going to share the 4-step framework for making a strategy, the very same process we use to find success for CHM.
To the classroom.
The first step for making a strategy is performing a content audit. This is where you take a super close look at what you're already doing. First, you want to figure out how far back you want to analyze your museum's posts.
If you post super often, we recommend doing a 90-day audit. But if you're a less frequent poster, then maybe we recommend doing a 6-month audit or looking back even a year. In the case of CHM, we audited the last 90 days across our 4 most active platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X.
For this exercise, you're not just examining past videos and how they performed, but you're trying to see what topics are really resonating with your current audience and attracting new eyes.
So sure, you want to look at reach and likes, but really pay the closest attention to what content got the most engagement and the highest quality comments. These metrics indicate that you're building community and achieving your learning goals.
To make sense of your findings, identify what makes some content perform better than others. Then group these posts into related topics. Hot tip, you can use ChatGPT to help find common themes. Just input the post descriptions and ask the AI to identify what they have in common.
For CHM, we found that exclusive content, things that were previously kept behind the scenes, like source codes or other technical resources, prompted a lot of shares and quality comments. Additionally, all of retro tech that triggers a sense of nostalgia, remembering milestones of high-profile inventors, along with featuring super ancient technology, all saw a lot of success.
On the flip side, faces with no context got almost no engagement. But when the thumbnail simply includes the piece of technology that inventor is associated with, the post gets way more interaction.
You might be surprised at the trends you discover the closer you look. All of this investigation is making me pretty hungry. Let's go to the diner to search for the next clue.
Let's do it. You likely already know the target audience for your museum. For the Computer History Museum, at a high level, it's people who are fascinated by technology. But we want to go beyond looking at direct competitors like other tech museums and understand the entire digital ecosystem that our audience is part of. Because the media has become democratized. Anyone can make content about vintage or modern computing, just like how anyone can make videos about art, world history, or ancient instruments.
So first you want to find out where your target audience is currently getting their content. Then you can start to dissect what is performing best within your niche.
Okay, I'll take some videos from YouTube and some posts to read from Reddit.
Coming right up. Actually, sir, this is an ice cream shop. We don't sell social media content here.
For CHM, we found 10 YouTube channels that produce content about computer history. Then we went to the homepage for each of those channels and filtered by most popular. We compared the top videos across all of these competitor channels and started identifying themes.
We noticed that people love videos about flops or big failures in the tech industry. People are also fascinated by old inventions from big brands, and they really like to know the specifics behind how tech stuff works. Through this research, we realized there's a huge overlap between computer history fans and gamers.
We also looked to another place where community builds and thrives around a common interest: Reddit. By searching computers in subreddits, we found a few relevant pages to analyze. We once again selected filter by most popular posts of all time and saw how this audience loves mind-blowing tech facts, especially in relation to how the aesthetic, size, and cost of different technology has evolved over time.
The second super common theme we identified was nostalgia, but in meme form. The internet has a way of making us realize that out of most of our experiences growing up, almost none were original.
Right? Like, I definitely remember turning the computer on with my toe and being obsessed and staring at the screensaver forever.
Of course, we have to consider CHM's brand voice, and while we're not going to turn the museum into a meme factory, we are aiming to make relatable content that's popular and reflective of the museum's mission and strategy.
Now let's head back to the locker room where we can start putting all this research into practice.
You've wrapped up your audience ecosystem mapping and learned a ton from platforms like YouTube and Reddit. Now it's time to marry those findings with your own museum's performance data and the gems you've got tucked away in your archives.
The goal? To create what we like to call content buckets. For CHM, those content buckets look like this.
Entrepreneurship stories, nostalgia, artifacts, gaming, and tech icons.
By this point, you've probably already got a few light bulb moments, ideas that you're itching to bring to life. Well, here's where those ideas find their home.
You want to start slotting those ideas under the appropriate content buckets you've just created.
Now you have done the groundwork.
You have a well-researched strategy, but you still truly don't know what works for your museum until you try some stuff.
There's going to be some flops, but each flop gets you closer to your goal, a piece of content that sparks curiosity and builds community. Here's a tip we found super useful. Set a specific number of pieces for your trial phase. Because without a set limit, it's so easy to get stuck in a never-ending cycle of content creation with no room for feedback or reflection. For our work with CHM, we chose to create an initial batch of 12 videos. This gave us enough data to analyze while also being a manageable workload. You want this to be a pretty scientific test, so try to distribute your videos evenly across all your content buckets.
Later on, you'll likely decide to prioritize certain social platforms while abandoning others. But for the sake of this test, we recommend posting everything everywhere. Because who knows, some weirdo like YouTube Shorts might surprise you. You also don't want to make all these videos look the exact same, because you're not just testing content topics, but you're also testing different formats. They should all be cropped vertically, but even within the vertical video orientation, there's a lot of different styles and aesthetics you could play around with.
Here are some we've tried out with CHM. Voiceovers with retro subtitles. The Antikythera mechanism is a complex machine. Meme-like and minimally produced posts.
Is everybody here?
I don't know.
And image carousels that incorporate video into the slides.
So I wake up sometimes in cold sweats.
You don't know until you try. Try not to stress about branding, consistency, or perfection. That will only slow you down. This is the time for messy experimentation.
Okay, we still haven't had actual food, and that last diner was a joke. You want to check out the pizza joint?
Say less. Closed? Oh man!
Well, while we're here, might as well go over some best practices, shall we?
We shall.
Now that your strategy is crafted and you have an idea of the kinds of topics you want to make videos on first, you might be left with some questions about how to actually make this content. Let's start with a few specs that apply to every video.
Number 1, orientation. 1080 by 1920. The majority of people consuming social media content are doing it through their phones. And you want to make sure your videos take up the entire screen.
Number 2, avoid heavily branding your videos. Avoid the intro slides, bumpers, and logos.
Number 3, always add subtitles. This not only makes your content more accessible, but it makes your videos viewable to even the more passive viewers who don't have their volume on. Pro tip, when posting on TikTok, add subtitles natively to improve searchability.
Number 4, length. For your first content experiment, we recommend keeping videos between 30 and 60 seconds. 1 minute is the time limit on YouTube Shorts, and you want to make sure that you can post it there.
Number 5, always start with an interesting frame. Don't start with a black screen that dissolves into your video. You have less than a second to hook a viewer. You cannot waste it.
In fact, for even mentioning starting a video with an uninteresting frame, we have to go straight to the principal's office.
Oh man! The world of content creation has become more and more accessible over the past couple of years. Here's some cutting-edge tools that help us make videos.
Number 1, VoxScript. This is a ChatGPT 4 plugin that can review the transcript of long YouTube videos. You can use this plugin and ask the AI to identify opportunities for short-form content, resulting in this long documentary becoming this short social media post.
Number 2, Descript is great for transcribing video files and making simple edits to them. When I wanted to find a segment from this 2-hour oral history of Joe Thompson, I used this software to identify the best quotes and even make a rough edit of the video. Number 3, Runway.ai is one of our favorite tools for more creative editing. You can use it to easily remove backgrounds and add other cool visual effects. The background removal feature is how I got this look in that same Joe video. There's also an AI feature on there that allows you to stylize your videos in really cool ways.
Number 4, Canva Pro. If you can only invest in one tool for making content, it's gotta be Canva Pro. We often rely on them for stock footage and for an easy way to make animations.
There really are so many great tools at our disposal. Our biggest piece of advice is to just try a bunch of different ones.
You might find that some tools fit in seamlessly into your workflow, while others just overcomplicate your process. It's a very personal thing, so you just gotta figure out what works best for you.
Back to you, Rachel.
So I've now worked with Sarah and Maria at 2 very different museums. We also worked together at the Tech Interactive in San Jose, California. And using this strategy, we've been able to reach tens of millions of people. Short form video is an incredibly effective way to attract a wide audience with mission-related content. You're essentially inviting these folks to have an experience similar to one they'd have within your 4 walls. And this can be done with very little investment, especially compared to the cost of delivering an in-person experience. You'll need to decide how this fits into your organizational goals. For some, this will just be wide reach. That will be enough for your institution. Others will want to figure out how to invite these new community members who are interacting with you on social media to become more deeply involved, perhaps as a member or a volunteer or even a donor. The point is to align this strategy with your own organization's goals and design something that works for you.
As you take on the task of repackaging your video archives, remember what's at the core of all of this: the stories your museum has to tell. These stories have the power to spark curiosity, inspire wonder, and open up new ways of seeing the world.
By sharing these stories in an engaging and relatable way on social media, you'll not only attract new viewers, but you'll also create a community of people who appreciate the special perspective that your museum brings. What do you think? Should we solve this mystery once and for all?
Let's do it. If I'm piecing this together correctly, it was your museum in your collections with a strategy and content creation tools using stories to engage your audience.
Hopefully now you see there can be a method to all the madness. With a little strategy and a lot of experimentation, you can find the key to making a meaningful impact through social media.
Thank you so much for your time, and we cannot wait to see you unlock the power of your video archives.